Ukrainian Minister of Strategic Industries Oleksandr Kamyshin speaks in an interview with the Associated Press in Kiev, Ukraine. Friday, November 3, 2023. Nearly 500 companies in Ukraine's defense industry are contributing to the country's efforts to increase arms production. He did this to counter Russia's attempts to seize more territory. Oleksandr Kamyshin said in an interview with the AP on Friday. Kiev, Ukraine. The head of Ukraine's newly appointed defense industry says he is working tirelessly to increase domestic arms production and wants to turn the country into a weapons production hub for the West. Oleksandr Kamyshin, Ukraine's minister responsible for strategic industries, said that Russia's invasion of his country and intensifying Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East emphasize need for countries to spend on defense systems. We are really focusing on making Ukraine the arsenal of the free world, Kamyshin said in an interview with the Associated Press late Friday. Nearly 500 companies in Ukraine's defense industry are contributing the country's efforts increase arms production counter Russia's attempts seize more territory. Kamyshin said. Among these, there are 70 public factories, over 200 factories, mainly in the private sector, that produce unmanned systems, and more than 200 private sector companies that produce various weapons and ammunition. We are focused on producing all types of weapons ammunition, and we are testing it on the battlefield, showing that we can make it better during the war. Kamyshin said, "This is something we can contribute to the free world, because as you can see, the defense industry is becoming more and more important globally." Oleksandr Kamyshin was appointed to the post about 8 months ago and is now responsible for 300,000 people working in Ukraine's defense industry. He had previously worked as conductor National Railway Ukrzaliznytsia, under whose management he was famous for running trains on time despite war. This was vital for evacuating thousands Ukrainians to safety in early days Russia's occupation. He now remembers that period as his past life, and says that he focused entirely on making the defense industry a successful enterprise like Ukrzaliznytsia. He acknowledges that he needs to start scaling up domestic arms production from scratch. He said Ukraine barely has a domestic defense industry to speak of before 2022, with the military relying mainly on what it already has and what it received in military aid from allies before the war began with Russia's invasion in February 2021. He said Ukraine was now delivering domestically produced munitions to the battlefield and could move further into Russia to strike. He declined to disclose specific figures but said Ukraine produces mortar and artillery ammunition, unmanned aerial vehicles, armored vehicles, missiles and a variety of other products. He says that the industry has grown tens or even hundreds of times in some segments. See